Woodshop. Thanks for joining. It's spring here and the birds are nesting. Thought I'd show you how to build this really neat little bird nest house. It's made out of a single fence board that's 5/8 thick, 5.5 inches wide, and 6 foot long. This is a great project to work on with your kids. I have to say, it gets them involved. You can talk to them about conservation, ecology, wildlife. There's tons of things. This is a feature of this box that I really like. You can show your kids and talk to them about it, is the fact that it's got this little hinge side, so you can clean. It's not for looking at the birds when it's for cleaning the nest out. So at the end of the season, you can pull the nest out and show your kids. Also, you need to clean it out once a year. Birds can get about 2 nests in here, then it's full, and then you won't come back. But really easy to do, very fast to build, and like I said, it's a great family project. I would involve the kids and teach them about conservation, ecology, and the environment. So let's move on and see how we do this. Let's start with materials for the birdhouse. This is nothing more than a fence board. So it's 6 foot long, 5.5 wide, and 5/8 thick. You'll use one of these for each house. There'll be some leftovers. Moving on to tools. Of course, we're going to be needing something to cut with, so I'm using a table saw and a radial arm saw because that's what I have. Use whatever you have, hand saw or whatever. Obviously, the measuring tape, adjustable square. I'm going to be using a pneumatic nailer with 2-inch nails in it. You can use whatever nails or screws you want to hold it together. Primarily, we're holding it together until the glue dries. Speaking of glue, we need waterproof glue. This is Titebond Ultimate 3. Choose your glue, but whatever it is, make sure it's waterproof. And of course, we'll probably need a few clamps, depending on the quality of the wood. This is a little bit cupped, so we'll have to squeeze it a little bit in order to get it to hold together. And if you're using power tools, guys, gals, please make sure you wear safety glasses, and please make sure you wear hearing protection. Let's move on to laying out the parts. Layout of the birdhouse is very easy on this board. First 3 pieces are going to be 9 inches long. That's for the front, the right side, and the left side. I'm going to have a 13-inch piece for my back, and then an 8-inch piece for my roof, and then a 4-inch piece for my floor. Very simple layout. I'm gang measuring these just as a reference. So I'll put a stop block in my radial arm saw when I cut these off so they'll be identical. If you're going to gang measure and cut, make sure that you add in the thickness of your saw blade. So your first cut would be 9 1/8 inches, and so on and so forth. Every cut will be 9 1/8 inches, the first 3. Keep that in mind because those cuts add up to a lot of material over 4 or 5 cuts. Let's move on to cutting the material. So you can see I set up a stop block here at 9 inches from the blade. That'll cut off my first several pieces. Make sure you check over your stock and you don't have things like this in here. This staple, that hits your blade, you're pretty well in trouble. Once again, I have to say, this Gerber, what a great piece of equipment. I love the thing. So we're going to cut these off real quick. I don't want to bore you too much by showing you all the cuts. So we'll go through this first one. Lock it in place, lock it. In my case, I turn on my vac system. Then I turn on the saw. I have all the pieces cut. Now we're ready to go assemble. Well, let's get to assembly. First, lay aside the right side and the front. We have work to do on those. You should have in front of you the back, the bottom, the left side, and the top. First thing we want to do is we want to glue the bottom down. Bottom's going to be centered. And about 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom of the back. So up a little bit along here. That just gives me some spot to secure it to a post. So in terms of right and left, because I have sides, I want to make sure that it's centered. And I can do that by putting the sides on, just hold them up and center it. I'm going to clamp this in place while I nail it. The only reason I'm using nails for this is because I want it to be held in place without clamps. So let's make sure we do a check. Did it move on me? Good. Square. Okay, folks, if you don't have an air nailer, I would highly suggest one. They cut the amount of work that you do dramatically. Make your job a heck of a lot easier overall. One thing, don't never get your hand in front of the nailer. I'm only nailing this again just to keep it there so the clamp, I don't have to clamp it. Nail the hole until the glue dries. So next I want to put on a side. The side's going to go here. Actually, this side's going to go more like this. I want that piece out. And I'll throw some glue on it. This is an outdoor project again. Be generous with the glue. Whoops, wrong spot. Definitely keep a paper towel around. I don't know if you know what I did. I was going to glue the bottom. It's actually the edge. So as I said before, this is a great project for you to do with your kids. It doesn't take long to build. It keeps their interest. You can talk to them a little about birds and bird migration, and those types of things. It keeps them interested and engaged, so I would definitely consider that. We're going to be putting the top on now. Let's do it this way. Again, be generous with the glue. Birds won't care if it drips a little. Make sure you line everything up and flush it up. Right to left, left to right. Now, we're going to be doing a couple things. I have to take the front, and I got to put a hole in it. Basically, I'm going to drill a hole, use a jigsaw to enlarge the hole, and then that'll be for the entry of the bird. We'll glue and tack that on, and then we'll work on the side. The side's going to be a little bit different. I want the side to open in in case I hadn't mentioned that before. That allows the inside to be cleaned. Birds can actually, you can build 2 nests in here before they have to abandon this because it's too full. So every year you should come open the side, clean the nest out. This gives you an easy way to do it. And I'll show you how to do that with no hinges, no expense. Okay? Let's move on to cutting the hole. So doing some research on hole size, I've decided to put in a 2 3/4 inch hole, single hole, rather than go ahead and cut a oval hole with my jigsaw. To do that, I'm using a 2 3/4 inch Forstner bit. I have it chucked into a heavy-duty drill because this Forstner bit requires some power. I put the center 3 inches down from the top and 2.75, 2 3/4 inches horizontally. So it's centered left to right, 3 inches down. And this, my friends, is why you have a sacrificial piece underneath. Otherwise, I'd have been drilling into my bench. Went a little deeper than anticipated. This is a bench hook, by the way. I use it for cutting small pieces with a small saw, small hand saw. And there is the front. So we're going to glue the front, nail the front on. Again, be generous with glue. Outside project. Glue drips aren't that important. Wipe them up, of course, but don't worry too much about it. Generally, these don't get painted. This isn't the kind to put in your garden paint. You can, of course. It adds to your maintenance burden. I personally don't like a lot of maintenance. So, this is ready to go. Now we're done tacking everything. Everything's looking pretty good. What we want to do is we want to fit the side. So the side needs to actually fit in here. And we notice it's a little bit, there's not quite enough room. So part of that is this is very rough sawing. So you can easily get some differential here in the sides. So you can't see this, but it looks pretty chopped up. So I'm going to actually trim this with a plane, make it a little bit skinnier. This is an old Bailey No. 7 joiner plane. It's made specifically to do what I just did, which is to make the make an edge very nicely jointed. See if that fits. Take a little bit more off. Do the other side. You not only see tool marks or cutting marks in here, you also see where the machines grab this. And there we go. It's pretty good. Definitely what I wanted. So the trick to this whole thing is this. We're going to put a nail in here, a nail in here, and a third nail down here. These two are just going to be driven in so to act as a hinge. And they're going to be number 4 finish nails. And they'll have a finish nail down here, but actually drill a hole into this piece that'll match here. So I can push the nail in and out, and that'll be the lock. So it's important to this, we have to make sure that we have two things. Pardon me, enough room for this thing to open. So there needs to be a slight gap up here. And then we have to make sure that the nails are exactly on line with each other. Easy way to do that is lay it out with a square. And I'm coming down about an inch. Actually, I'm going to make it a little less than that. I'm going to make it about, so using the square, I'm going to come down a ½ inch. And that's where I'm putting the nail. So I'm transferring the line from the top to the side, so I know where to stick the nail in. And in a project like this, while accuracy is important, it's not so critical that you can't make a slight mistake. See, we do have some glue leaking out here. So you don't need much of a gap up here, just a little bit. I'm using 4-penny finish nails. Set in 3/8 of an inch, which is halfway, roughly. This will be a little more difficult because I have to get in pretty close there, but same thing. So one of the upside or bad things about nailing this through this thin material is you run the risk of splitting the wood. Okay, good. That works. There we go. So this is pretty stiff the way it is. We want to put something else into it. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to drill a hole. I'm going to drill a hole in here, which will allow me to drill a hole in here, which will allow the clearance for the nail, and then I'll actually drive the nail into the piece here. I'll leave it protruding a little bit so I know which nail it needs to come out of. Where this really goes doesn't really matter. Oop, I'm out of battery power. Just made it. Whew. And all I want to do is tack this in there. Now it's easy to get out. I will need a hammer to pull it out, but I can pull it out, swing this up, clean it out, put it back, tap it in, and I'm ready to go. Easy bird box to make. easy project. This is a great project to work on with your kids. So, good luck. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you at the next episode. Thanks for joining today. I hope you got something out of building this bird nesting box. If you did, please hit like and subscribe. And folks, down below there's a couple of links for tools and also some links for bird migration, bird management. So take a look at those. If you're going to build this with your kids, which I highly recommend, make sure you walk them through a little bit on wildlife management, conservation, and of course, environmental protection. On that note, please don't nail or screw these to a living tree. It goes against all the concepts of environmental protection. Find a dead tree, a barn, or a garage and secure it to one of those, or put a post in the ground, which is even better. You can put 3 or 4 of these in a post, and then kids can watch. Great thing about this project, as I mentioned before, the side opens up at the end of the season, not while the birds are nesting. At the end of the season, you can show the kids the bird nest, and then pull it out, and they can take it to school for show and tell. I think they still have that these days. Mom may not want it in the house, though. Great project. Like I said, folks, hope you enjoyed it. Hit like and subscribe. And until next time, good making.